Yeah. Time to destroy atheism.
Hi, everyone. We're not actually destroying atheism. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we just decided that there are too many true scums in the atheist community, so we decided that we're just going to delete the atheist community.
Nah, we're just going to destroy the true scum. Starting with probably one of the most true scummy people to ever be a true scum today, which is none other than Blaire White. Yeah, so she reviewed this movie about trans kids. It's overall a supportive movie. I have not seen it in full. I have seen Blaire's video, but I have done read some summaries and things on the video. But Blaire is here. We'll go over it. She is not the most honest person. Come to find out. Go figure. Yeah, Blaire
Wait, does she know what honesty is? Like, she realizes you can't eat honesty, right?
I think that Blaire White thinks that honesty is macaroni, to be honest. I don't think she knows the difference.
Yeah. I mean, it is a hard concept at times for some people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, let's...
Especially when the right-wing, what is it? Blaire White, if he ain't Aryan, we ain't marrying kind of deal.
Yeah, no, that's something she said, along with her, what else? She did that, like blackface thing, making fun of, with a charcoal mask, and then, also was basically doing blackface with a charcoal mask, and tried to say it wasn't because it was a charcoal mask, even though she had BLM.
It's just a joke, guys. Calm down.
Yeah, and was also making fun of non-binary people because Blaire White can't open her mouth without making fun of non-binary people.
She admits exist, by the way.
Yeah, she just doesn't think that they're trans because Blaire White doesn't know what trans is.
Yeah,
or she does, and she's just a bad person. It's one or the other.
What?
She might just be a bad person, but that would be the most charitable to assume.
Or she's a bad person regardless, right? Like,
well, yeah, because let's be real. A lot of people do online experience harassment that from the people in her audience, which I could go. I would say even agree or disagree, Calon, but I would say a lot of her words are frankly incitement of harassment of a lot of people.
I mean, yeah, it's in that same classic style that the right likes to do, where they'll just go right up to the border, and then because of how the legal testing works, it's always plausible deniability.
Yeah. Oh, and yes, Jail, she really did say that. She's she is an interesting individual, to say the least. With that,
I don't know if I count her as an individual, though.
She's an interesting amorphous blob of being a bully.
Exactly.
Okay, well, shall we? Let's get into this, Calon. Let's see what Miss Blaire White has to say about this movie, shall we?
All right.
Alrighty.
I'll tell you one. If you're a boy or a girl.
Okay. Phoenix would like you to know that she's a girl and she prefers she and her pronouns.
I've done too much in this world. It's ruined my life.
I do not like Blaire White's intro.
Hey guys, welcome back to my main channel. So I'm definitely feeling very under the weather today. So if my voice does anything weird, her throat is sore. She's definitely going through it, but she's also pushing through it to film this video. So I just watched this movie called Transhood on HBO. Now this movie has social media in an uproar, upset, outraged, because they think that this movie contains child abuse, contains children.
What outrage?
And basically what? The movie...
Yeah, it's a lot of people got that. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Calon.
Why are we counting this as outrage rather than illegitimate transphobic outrage? Like,
Because
kid. Oh yeah, that's right. Blaire White's a transphobe, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, this should, by the way, reinforce that whole point of, yeah, just because you are something doesn't mean you're not prejudiced against that thing. Jesse Lee Peterson, a fascist, is black. You
Yeah.
can have black fascists. Always funny when people pull out that argument. I'm just like, okay, Anne.
Well, and I've even heard Blaire White say that she can't be transphobic because she's trans. Like, she's straight up said that before. Like, but yeah.
Yeah, well, obviously the pinnacle of thinking here. Pinnacle of academic thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. There's also, we'll get into it, but there's some lies that I'll cover early on, like the how she opened it with that one child saying her life's ruined. That was very deceptive, and we'll get into that when Blaire starts talking about it more. But yeah, be prepared for some yikes, everyone. All right, let's see what else.
Continue.
Yeah.
Chronicles 5 different transgender children at different ages. One of them is 4. That story was...
I hate her little eyebrow thing that she does, and her little like blink, 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 condescending. I hate it. Anyway,
one of the worst. And then it chronicles also a teenage trans girl named Lena. And I want to start off by saying that not every of the 5 trans stories in this movie were abusive or crazy or scary. Like, I actually have written in my notes here, loved Lena because her story was amazing. They showed her going on like modeling casting calls. They showed her finding love and breaking up with someone. Like, her story was very relatable. And
is she using the proper gender for this kid?
For Lena?
Yeah.
I believe so. I believe Lena is a trans girl. And I'm also pretty sure the reason... Sorry, what?
I'm hearing a lot of he, him here from Blaire.
Did she say he, him?
I think she did, yeah.
Should we go back to check?
Like, go ahead, yeah.
Modeling casting calls. They showed her finding love and breaking up with someone. Like, her story was very...
Oh no, she is cheer.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, yeah. But I will say I do think the reason that Blaire likes Lena is because, and I'm not saying that it's bad that Lena's this way, but the reason Blaire likes her is probably because she's pretty and passes and looks like a sister. Because Blaire's vain like that.
Blaire is what we call an assimilationist. That is, Blaire thinks we should adhere to the gender binary and in with the rest of society, which is a dumb position, also a transphobic position, because not everyone can pass, so transphobic / ableist, and ultimately isn't actually any sort of freedom. So, there's that.
Oh, that's alright, John. Talk to you later. Thanks for stopping by.
Right, let's continue.
Yeah.
Relatable and normal, and I loved it. But the very young children in this movie in particular, there was Avery and Phoenix that I really want to talk about because, oh my god, it was some really disturbing footage and scenes when it came to these young ones. And I honestly do believe that in these 2 children's cases in particular, they are being pushed to do things that they don't want to do by the parents who want them to be trans. I'm going to go into why and show you guys some clips and all that. So I'm going to start off with Avery. Now, Avery is a very well-known trans kid. She was on the cover of National Geographic, I believe it was, has risen to notoriety for being a trans kid. And this story really, really disturbed me. It was very apparent to me, and in my opinion, the mother in this film was pushing Avery to, at the very least, be trans, at the very most, be trans, and make a business out of it to make money for herself, for the mother. Every single scene in this movie was some sort of business transaction.
I'm not saying whether or not that's true, but Blaire White is. Oh, there's a. Yeah, but Blaire White is probably the last person that should be complaining about people making money off of transness.
I mean, look at her. Like, if you look at the way like she puts herself in the frame and whatnot, it's like everything to simp to like sort of bro culture, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
She is trying to appeal to masculine men here with her angles and whatnot, which in and of itself is not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like everyone should have the right to feel like sexy and whatnot in front of the camera. But with the way that Blaire does it, and in combination with her dishonesty and all of that, it's pretty clear it's just a cash grab.
Yeah, she's making cash off of chuds, like to be blunt.
Yeah. Like, if I were to appear on camera, you probably won't see me with makeup. And all this other stuff and whatnot. So, yeah.
Which is also super valid. Yeah. Shall we continue?
Yes.
Action was a photo shoot for the kid, was an interview, was a radio appearance, was her being forced to sell a book, going to events, and at one point Avery actually says, "This is ruining my life."
We're going to Washington, D.C. We actually go and meet with our senators and representatives. After we do that, we go and sit and sell some of Avery's books for a little while.
I just don't want to even have a book. I've done too much in this world. It's ruined my life. And
Okay, I need to say something about this because I looked into this. This is a deceptive edit on Blaire's part. She's just lying. The reason Avery is
lying? Don't tell me so.
Yeah, the reason Avery's expressing this is because she's experiencing a lot of transphobia online and offline, including from her own grandparents, and is upset at the targeted harassment that she's experiencing. It has nothing to do with being trans. It doesn't even, don't get me wrong, I understand concerns about children celebrities, but like this has nothing to do with transness or even anything happening with the mom. It has to do with Avery is complaining about transphobes and later complains like or expresses discomfort and fear regarding Trump when Trump got elected because she didn't want a transphobic president. Like that's the kind of things that Avery is expressing. It has nothing to do with any type of regret. So I think that should be clarified.
Yeah, but here Blaire wants to support apparently Blaire wants to support the narrative that it's not society that's the problem, it's individual trans people that's the problem. Our transness apparently is what inherently makes us act like that. And so in order to support that, obviously she has to be dishonest because really, in reality, most mental issues that we trans people suffer from aren't caused by like us. They're not internal. They are a result of transphobia that we receive from society. People just allowed and we're okay with letting people dress how they want, do whatever body modifications, take whatever hormones they want and whatnot. You would see the rate of mental illness among trans people drop.
Oh yeah, significantly. And like, just from my own experience.
But Blaire doesn't want that. Blaire wants to make everything worse for us.
Yeah, because she can make money by doing that easily.
Exactly. Blaire doesn't care.
Nope.
Alright, let's get...
Alrighty.
no,
Alright, let's continue with if he ain't Aryan, we ain't marrying.
Oh, yeah. That's something that she said. Yeah. Well, and even just like before we continue the video, like in my experience, don't get me wrong, I probably wouldn't have wanted to be in the public eye about it, but I would have loved to be able to experiment with my gender. Yes, even way before puberty. Like, I would have loved that. I even expressed that as a kid, so like, you know. Stop lying, Blaire. Okay.
Yes.
Shall we continue the video? Alright.
Okay, continue.
Sorry, what'd you say there, Calon?
I say continue.
Okay, no.
This world is going to know. And it's just gonna make my life worse.
A couple years ago, you wanted people to know.
Yeah, I did, but now that was really stupid, silly mistake, and now I don't.
Now, the mom was a really shady character in my opinion, because even after this young child is expressing, you are ruining my life by putting me out there so much.
Don't you love the right libertarian sort of, oh, the mother was too pushy kind of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, the mother was pushing her. Like, no. You dumb bitch.
It's not the mom's fault
what?
that some kids are trans, Blaire. You know,
Yeah. You know, parents don't turn us trans. Like, it's a little bit foggy what does make why people become trans, but basically it's a mixture of nurture and nature.
Yeah.
The nurture affects the nature in this case because of sorry, I'll go outside. Okay, anyhow, so yeah, basically why some of us are trans and whatnot is not as well understood from the research that I've looked at. It's pretty clear that there's some neuroplasticity involved, especially for gender fluid people like myself, where we're sort of like on the border of various like gender things, and so we move back and forth in terms of how we construct and view ourselves in gender terms. But the evidence that suggests it's not rooted in biology. Gender has basically nothing to do with biology. Yeah, as a construct. Transmedicalism is just so stupid. Like, no, you're confusing. You're basically saying that you have to force a concordance of some sort, which, no, you don't. You can just as easily fall outside the binary.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, let's continue.
Alrighty.
Still takes her to events after that scene and is still doing stuff in the public and doing exactly what this child said she doesn't want to do. It was very apparent to me that the mother has made her child being transgender her entire life, her entire business. The mom makes a living off of it, and it is basically the mom's, it's the mom's whole thing. She has monetized her child being transgender, which honestly, you know, I'm probably going to get heat for this, but it was very questionable to me if Avery really felt trans, because there were really no scenes in the movie where Avery was speaking for herself and describing the experience of being trans. Throughout the movie, Avery talks about just wanting to be normal. Doesn't mean that she's not going to be transgender later on as well, but it was very interesting because in the movie, the mom was
Wait,
like,
what?
oh, yeah,
No, she's trans now.
She likes...
Yeah. Yeah.
Blaire, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
Gatekeeping.
pretty sure she, her, yeah, that qualifies for trans.
Yeah. Just every time she mentions that monetization, transness, like, I'm just like, you're literally Blaire White.
That too, yes.
But yeah, and then on top of that, just like the whole, I mean, Blaire White is true, so and like, she is, and like, it's really apparent in seeing how just she keeps every trans person. In this case, it's almost more malicious because since Avery's a child, she can kind of do it under the guise of like, oh, I just care about Avery's well-being and stuff like. If you care about Avery's well-being, then maybe don't.
She doesn't give a fuck about Avery.
No,
so
no.
Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't care. Oh, and also just to respond quickly to a comment, the problem is that we can't find gender anywhere in the body. Yeah. It doesn't have a biological basis in terms of it sort of developing separate from say from the development of sex. And hello everyone. We have 7 viewers, yay! All right, let's continue.
Alrighty.
Boy things. If you think that's weird, well, why do you think tomboys are weird? And tomboys aren't weird, but it is a hallmark, not a deciding factor, of a transgender child that when they're young, they like playing with girl stuff. And short of this mom dyeing the kid's hair pink and dressing her in all pink, which seems very forced to overcompensate for the fact that she likes doing all boy things, it just came across as weird to me. That was my honest opinion from the film. In my notes, I wrote, struck me as a business venture.
Oh yes, toys. The deciding factor. I know. She said not an absolutely deciding factor, but just okay. Yeah, I am gender fluid as well, and I played with both toys and real toys as a kid. But like the using of let's be real. I know a lot of girls who like toys as well because generally speaking, boys get cooler toys.
Just get cooler dolls.
Yeah, that was just a weird point. Like it was a moot point, but it was also weird. Like,
oh, what she's trying to do is she's trying to appeal to the gender binary here, and as per the gender binary, you have things that are for girls and other things that are for boys, and they're considered opposites and whatnot. And by reinforcing this idea, she's trying to attract like people who are still within that gender ideology of the binary. Because if you're not in that ideology, you're more than likely more than likely have actually studied the topic or vaguely aware of it. 2, you're a lot less likely to be on the right.
yeah, that is true. Hey Blaire, just for the record, the fact that I like Dragon Ball Z doesn't make me not trans.
Mm-hmm.
Just
like it would for a cis person, actually.
Yeah.
If a cis girl likes Dragon Ball Z, which there are plenty that do, doesn't make them not a girl anymore.
Yeah.
Right to what society gendered rules would like to have you believe.
True. All right, let's continue. There's this person.
Avery being trans. I wrote the word suspicious. I wrote Avery seems unhappy doing book interviews. Mom seems very happy doing interviews and books. And all that is something that I don't like about a lot of mothers of famous trans children, is that it feels like it's more about the mom and the mom receiving accolades for being such an amazing, accepting, loving mother and making money than it is about the child. Even if it's not the mother forcing the child to identify as transgender, it's the mother forcing the child to be a starlet and out there in a public figure. And that to me is wrong. If your child doesn't want to do something like that, you cannot make them. Next, we have 4-year-old Phoenix. Now, this one made me cry during the movie. I was watching this with Joey and I was like trying to hide my tears. I was like, oh my God, this poor little kid. His parents basically chalked him up at 4 years old to being transgender because he liked occasionally playing with girls' toys and wearing dresses. Now, again, while that can be...
Okay, so there is some dishonesty going on here too that I want to clarify in regards to Phoenix. It did end up at the end of the film that Phoenix did decide that he was a like about his trip. Whereas he was kind of figuring himself out before and was using she, her pronouns and defining themselves as like a girl boy, you know. And it's caused some strain on the parents' marriage, I think. The parents definitely got divorced. I don't remember if that was the reason why. But at the end of it, the dad, when talking to the dad says, okay, so you're a boy, and the dad, who starts out really transphobic, says, just, if you're a boy or you're a girl, I'd still accept you and come around, kind of a thing. Like, so, yeah, it's true. Phoenix decided at the end of the film, okay, yeah, no, I'm a boy, but was questioning themselves. It's fine to question things. Blaire is literally kind of just being ageist here, in that she's saying that questioning her.
Why not? It's like, why not? Especially, what makes this especially, like, cringy, that it indirectly refers to, because the answer to that question of why wouldn't a kid be able to question their gender is that, well, they're under the age and therefore they don't know what is good for themselves. And since they don't know what's good for themselves, they can make life-altering decisions that would ultimately have a negative impact onto them into adulthood. The problem with that, of course, is that there's nothing necessarily there's nothing actually, to think of it, there is nothing life-altering about questioning your gender at that age.
Not at all.
Has zero effect.
Well, I made a.
Fine. Puberty blockers are completely reversible with some slight bone density issues, but that's way preferable than having a dead kid.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, I mean, just my own life. I said this on Twitter yesterday, but like, I knew I was not neatly a guy at 5 years old. You know, like I asked specifically, I was not out there, but I asked specifically if I could go to church as a girl. You know, like, it's, and what do you know, I'm not. And my, later in life, yeah, I figured out I was right. So, you know, like, sometimes that happens, sometimes, yeah, just, in addition to everything you said, just like, this is just Blaire shaming people 50 or 60 years old, basically, because of things that, like you said, are completely unnatural.
Yeah, with nods to very transphobic ideologies.
Oh yeah. Basically, Blaire White's just a bad person. It's just like,
Be a telltale sign that is not everything. You could just tell it was a little boy being imaginative, but the parents were so dead set on him being trans, and in fact also thought that their other son was transgender because the other son would sometimes want to play with girls' toys as well. They took Phoenix to protests, again making the trans thing their whole
Other son is
identity,
transgender.
their hobby, basically.
Okay. So one was thinking about being MTF, the other was thinking about being FTM. Is that what I'm getting?
I think they were both. Yeah.
Then why did she use the term son there?
Oh, they both ended up being. In Phoenix's case, Phoenix is AMAB, but Phoenix initially was questioning, and eventually decided that he was going to be but yes, Phoenix is.
Again? Katia?
Oh, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah. Did you get that on?
What was the last part you said?
Oh, I was just saying that Phoenix is AMAB, but turned out was just questioning his gender, and then turned out he was questioning that, which is fine. Doesn't look at it a big deal. I mean, I'm sure there was something, but like, the way
Honestly, it shouldn't be a big deal. It's like, hey, okay, kids questioning gender, get them puberty blockers, and wait for the kid to decide.
Yeah.
Oh. Insofar as one can't decide.
It's totally fine. Phoenix decided that he wasn't gonna. Like, it's totally fine. It's okay.
Let people figure out their own social categorizations for themselves.
Yeah. And maybe don't judge them and their entire families over it. And, just say it
I mean, she's a bigot, so there's nothing else to it. Like, she's a bigot who appeals to the right wing because she wants right wing money.
Yep.
Any sort of sense of oppression or something or of such that she feels is ultimately subsumed by the amount of money that she gets from this. So,
yeah.
continue.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that.
And the protests scared Phoenix, which was really upsetting to see. Like, why are you taking your 4-year-old to a protest? Like, don't even do that. There was a moment where the mom, who seemed very paranoid and unstable, by the way, took Phoenix at 4 years old to a church and tried to make Phoenix come out as LGBT in front of everyone.
Anyone here who would claim their identity publicly as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning, intersex, pansexual, asexual, or any category that I've left out.
Looks like a little
shy. Do you want to tell everyone if you're a boy or a girl?
Okay. Phoenix would like you to know that she's a girl and she prefers she and her pronouns.
If that was not one of the most disturbing clips. So very constant theme of these mothers speaking for the child. Like in the case of Avery and Phoenix, I heard the moms talking about them being trans. And I never heard the kids talking really about being trans. Avery once or twice, but it was in a very nonchalant
Is there a requirement for them to, for you to hear that? Like, what, did they need to live all of his life out in the open? Like,
Also, from that initial clip, obviously Phoenix is kind of shy. Like, yeah.
if you're a kid and you have all these cameras pointing at you, it's like, I'm gonna go hide now.
Yeah.
That's how I would have been.
Same. Like, you know, you was for yourself. Like,
What did you expect? It's like, yeah, let's continue.
alrighty. Also, kind of cool that church was pro-Jericho.
Our church is not there like that, even if atheists want to deny that.
Yeah.
What?
But it didn't come across as, I don't know, it was just a mess. So here's the gag with Phoenix. A couple years later, after the first filming of them being at the church, coming out as LGBT, pansexual, queer, blah, blah, Phoenix went back to being a boy. Before picture day in the movie, Phoenix said, no, I don't want to go to school as a girl, and I want to be a boy again.
Hey, Blaire. So what?
Exactly. Who cares? Also, gender fluidity is a thing. Gender is not a static thing. As people develop, their senses of identity change and whatnot. Some people find out that they are more gender fluid, whereas other people find out that they stay on one part of the gender or another.
Yep.
Not something that's unusual, actually. Something we see across many different cultures.
Right? But Blaire likes to deny anything that doesn't fit the narrative that she's living under.
He likes to deny anything that doesn't appeal to our right-wing audience. Because all of these narratives that she's perpetuating are things that I would expect to see, like the LGBT Alliance perpetuate.
Oh yeah. Also notice how Blaire names in there, like, pansexual, queer, blah 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 blah, whatever. It's like they're obnoxious.
Yeah, Blaire. Yeah, it's also something that if you're any at all intellectually inclined, you don't do. These terms have meaning. A very socially constructed meaning, but meaning nonetheless. These are just ways that people can put their identity and make a sharper picture of it. Saying that someone is pansexual, for example, what does that tell you? Well, they're not asexual. Not gay. They're not a lesbian. Well, could be in a lesbian relationship, but their sexuality isn't a lesbian. That is in the sense of being exclusively attracted to female-presenting people. So, yeah.
Yeah, unless you're a bi or pan lesbian, which are both also valid, but that's that was a little deeper into that conversation. But yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, and I mean, and I'm talking more in terms of strict, like, operationalizations of, like, I'm talking just surface level here, even. So, Yeah, it's like these terms do have meaning. Because you don't know these terms doesn't make them any less valid.
Yeah, I think Blaire White should do what she's proven to be incapable of every time she's reviewed one.
I don't know if she can read though.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing evidence that she can read.
I have not either. Hey Blaire, read a book challenge. Like on stream, do a live stream of you reading. I don't know. Let's put some like little.
Mr. Jekyll. Oh, I was about to say Frankenstein.
Oh,
yeah, that would be. Yeah. She won't, but anyhow, let's continue.
Yeah.
And it was very telling that that happened before picture day, because I remember being a kid. I remember having maybe like a bad hair day, bad haircut, and not wanting to go to school because I didn't want to present myself in that way because it was ultimately embarrassing. Basically, this kid was wearing pink at home but didn't want to do it at school, didn't want to actually live his life that way. Went back to being a boy, and the mom actually did a complete 180 and almost became not being trans in general. There was a moment where the mom was like,
going back to being a boy.
People are transgender.
Like, Blaire, you realize gender doesn't have to be stable, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're literally dealing with a sense of one. Yeah, like we're literally dealing with a sense of oneself as like a guy or a girl. Like, any sort of sense of oneself is going to evolve over time. Nobody's going to remain exactly the same. We even see this with cis people. It just so happens that cis people stay to one side of the gender spectrum. Like, come on. This is not difficult. Unless, of course, you're in the gender binary, in which case you're just plain wrong and you're sucking up to the dominant group and actually don't care about trans rights and want us all to just go ahead and die.
It's almost like that's what Blaire
I mean, yeah, that's what Blaire wants. At least those of us who are, like, not strictly binary and who don't pass and whatnot, just wants us all to go into the gutter and die.
Yep.
Really.
She is just that way. Oh, Blaire. And she denied that, but her rhetoric speaks a lot more than denial.
Yeah, rhetoric and her actions. Like, there's no reason you actually study this stuff that there should be any sort of like question about, hey, about enforcing a gender ideology, which is what she's doing. Like, she's trying to enforce a binary ideology, which basically means male. Men are men, women are women. The only exception is that she has more flexibility than the general right-wing population when it comes to gender. Even that is comparatively, if you compare it to like our positions on gender, she's as rigid as a freaking stick. Whereas if you were to compare it to another Nazi's idea of gender, then she's not rigid. So it's basically a long way of saying she upholds conservative ideas in a manner where she basically tries to be a trans conservative.
Yeah, she is definitely. She does that because, well, being a trans person is comfortable. Keeps her safe at other people's expense, but not the other people, right?
Yeah, clearly. And it also gives her that good right-wing money.
Yeah. Ugh. Let's continue here.
but not my child. It was very defensive about it, was very certain this child was absolutely a boy now, and the boy was definitive as well. And I really applauded this movie for keeping that scene in, because it was so real. The fact that, you know, you can have a child who likes to play dress up and might be a girly boy or a tom girl or tomboy, whatever the term for, you know, females is. Like, that is...
Is she trying to say femboy?
You can't say femboy. That would require recognizing something other than man and woman.
Oh boy. Read a book. Almost literally any book.
a thing.
Well, not quite any.
Like, that they are transgender.
I mean, I'm pretty sure her reading doesn't extend that much past Mein Kampf. So... let's be careful with the any book. Any other.
Read a book, literally any book that is not explicitly right-wing, Blaire. Please, I am begging you. Anything that's at least not explicitly so. Please. Then again, for... I assume further ago, she actually doesn't even know that much about right-wing politics, because she was asked if she was a minarchist, and she didn't know what that was. So, yeah.
He's just a reactionary grifter.
Yeah. Because it's like, even your average leftist typically knows what a right-winger means when they say minarchist. But she was just like, what is that? Is that like monarchy? No, I mean... I don't remember what she said, but she didn't know what it was. Like, oh, you don't actually know that much about right-wing politics. You just like right-wing money.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, alright, let's continue here.
And it's such a horrible precedent that these parents become so certain so quickly because their child expresses femininity as a male or expresses masculinity as a female, that they're meant to live as the opposite gender. I think it's very harmful to automatically set them on that trajectory. I think allowing them the space and time to grow into who they are naturally is the best possible thing, because you never know if it's just a really feminine boy, which is the case with Phoenix. You never know if it's a very tomboy girl. Like, you have to give your child space and time to grow into that. And while there were cases in this movie of very legitimate, in my eyes, you know, trans kids, like there was a trans teen boy and a trans teen
Nobody cares
girl,
about whether
me,
whether we're legitimate in your eyes or not, Blaire. You've shown yourself to be a true scum and a transphobe. What you think is completely irrelevant to the rest of the trans community at this point.
Yeah, and typically, if Blaire White says it, you can pretty much say with confidence the rest of the trans community is in disagreement.
Yeah, in fact, if you want a great guide to learning about how to advocate and like speak with trans people, just watch Blaire White and take the opposite of what she says.
For real, though. Like, not even kidding.
She says MBs aren't valid. Well, then clearly you know MBs are valid. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was having a mic issue. Thank you, Jill.
Authentic. They've seemed very independent in their thought and knowing who they are without parental influence. But those younger children, there was so much parental influence and it was disturbing. Almost as if, and we've done stories like this on my channel before about parents of very young trans kids, like 4 or 5 years old. It's almost as if that becomes the parent's identity as well. Like, it's one thing to be supportive of your child. It's another to have their identity become your identity, because once they start telling you things like, this is ruining my life, as in the case of Avery, the mom just blocked it out and still...
Get off your fucking soapbox. It's like, get off your fucking soapbox, Blaire.
That's
The
not
way identity... Well, first of all, just going to our first point about let the kid have, like, its identity and whatnot, that's not how identity strictly work. Like, we tend to discover ourselves through our activities and what we do.
Yeah.
As well as the social environment around us. It doesn't make sense, really, for the mother to be forcing her child into a particular gendered role when really going to socialize naturally anyway. And if the kid keeps expressing support for this, and that especially shows that that identity has already been present before the mother did anything.
I think that's too complex for Blaire to wrap her little brain around, though.
Yeah, identity theory and gender studies, that's just something she probably isn't capable of understanding.
Yeah. Or at least refuses to.
Yeah, probably a mixture of both, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, let's continue here.
How much longer of this video do we have?
Just a couple more minutes.
Alright, cool. Because I need to cleanse my ears after this from listening to Blaire.
Yeah. Oh.
Force your child to keep on this way, and I think that's completely wrong. It's very valid to feel trans at a very young age. It's also very valid to grow out of it. There are so many people that grow out of it. There are so many people that reach out to me on this channel because they know I'm open to hearing about it. You know, young people who say, I definitely thought I was trans when I was 8, 9 years old. God, I can hear my voice going. I'm so annoyed. Ugh. You know, there were a lot of people who
so many young people.
Complete and utter trash.
And it's like, she's like, there's so many young people. It's like, nah, you think? You know, it's gonna human.
Yeah. Well, if she acknowledges that, then what's the point in making this video? Like,
Well, there isn't a point. It's just the right-wing money. I guess she has to pay rent. You know, pay rent off of encouraging people to be bigots towards other trans people.
yeah. That's like, it's literally like, haha, the right hates this movie, so I'm going to watch it and see why I think it's okay to hate this movie.
Exactly.
Hey. Alrighty.
A complete show. You guys were telling me, watch it, it's a show. I didn't think it was completely a show. Like I said, some of the stories were great, but some of them were awful. Yeah, that's my thoughts on this movie, you guys. My voice is so gone. I could not believe how f***ed up my voice is. I love you guys. Subscribe to this channel as well as my main channel.
No need to subscribe to her channel.
Yeah, no. You need to subscribe. You need to subscribe, give donations, or anything to her. He is a bigot and a transphobe.
If you want to subscribe to a good trans channel, I know one. It's the one you want right now.
Exactly. Subscribe, like, all that nice stuff, and share around. Who knows, maybe we'll be featured on Blaire's channel. Not likely. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, maybe it's not outside the realms of possibility, but if it is, we'll respond back. Well, that was not the movie, but I will say that reading of Blaze was definitely complete. SHIT show. Yeah.
The same person that, you know, bullies people and all that.
Yeah, that's don't be a bully, everyone. Just be a good person.
Be a bully to those who actually deserve it.
Yeah. Bully bullies. Don't bully the innocent.
Exactly. And with that, we will see you guys next time.